named Jack. Now, Joaquin Murrieta, is a very, very romantic figure. There's many ballads, folk tales told about him. There's confusion. The folklore, the fact, the fantasy have blended together. All right, there's two origin myths for Mr. Joaquin Murrieta. In one, he's a displaced nobleman. In another, he's a simple farmer. But both origins agree that his wife is raped and killed, his brother is whipped and hanged, and his land is taken away by Anglo prospectors. Well, Murrieta can find no justice for the killings and the robbing of his lands, so he gets revenge in traditional Spanish fashion and takes the matters into his own hands. And he quickly kills those responsible for the death of his beloved wife and his brother. And essentially he's forced into banditry and forms a gang. He doesn't like doing this or enjoy it, but he feels he has to. And he stings and bites. He disrupts and harasses the Anglos all over California. Now, the California legislature is frantic. They're arguing over what to do about this Joaquin problem. They want to deport all Mexicans. They want to kill anyone named Joaquin. Essentially, they want to grab all the gold and the resources for themselves. The governor of California hires a former Texas Ranger known as Harry Love to solve the Joaquin problem. He empowers Love to recruit 50 men and form the California Rangers. Now, Love is a ruthless Indian killer and a hero of the Mexican-American War. And the governor of California promises Love $1,000 for the head of any Joaquin bandit. But there's a problem, because nobody knows what these Joaquin bandits look like. They could be anyone. So Love spends months scouring the countryside looking for clues. The locals don't exactly help Love. They admire and respect and love the Joaquin bandits, and they're not going to give Love any information. In fact, the locals goof on Love. They tell him tall tales and legends. For example, Murrieta he's huge and hairy, and he eats gringos with his big teeth. Well, after months and months, Love gets his break. He captures Murrieta's brother-in-law, and Murrieta's brother-in-law sings like a canary. He basically tells Love, "If you let me go, senor, I will lead you to Murrieta." Well, the brother-in-law tells Love about Three-Fingered Jack Garcia. No, I'm not. I'm not related. Three-Fingered Jack Garcia is Murrieta's sadistically fearsome henchman and right-hand man who enjoys killing gringos. His three missing fingers do not hamper Garcia's skill at robbing and killing. And essentially, Three-Fingered Jack is Murrieta's valued and constant companion. Well, the brother-in-law tells Love about the gang's hideout deep in the woods near Tulare Lake. And Love plans an ambush. All right? Now, this hideout, or camp, is in fact a small city filled with women and children, animals. The camp, there's a mini revolution in the works, and there's hundreds of people in the camp. These people are free from Anglo oppression, at least for the moment. Now, Murrieta is a great military commander. There's constant training. There's constant drills going on, shooting, riding, roping. He is, in fact, preparing for war. Now, the people in the camp live for the moment. Death, capture, is always close by. But they're happy and proud in their defiance. Now, Love needs more men. He authorizes deputies. And, well, he gets about 100 more men. The ranks of the California Rangers inflate very, very quickly. And he goes to the camp in the dead of night. Now, he spots Three-Fingered Jack and assumes that one of the many others must be Murrieta. So there's a surprise attack. The Rangers fear the bandits, and they're taking no chances. They leap into camp, guns blazing, and they shoot anything that moves. Now, Three-Fingered Jack is instantly killed, as are most of the men next to him, and Love figures that, well, one of these guys has to be Murrieta. There's a fierce gun battle. Many bandits, women, children are killed, but some manage to get away. Remember, these are very skillful horsemen, and a few of them manage to slip away. Now, Love hacks off the hand of Three-Fingered Jack Garcia. Remember, I'm not related. And he chops off the head of the one he believes to be Joaquin Murrieta. He places the head and the hand, this grisly evidence, into jars filled with preserving fluid, and he transports them back to San Francisco. Okay? Love receives his $1,000 reward from the governor, and he rides off into history. But Murrieta's story isn't over, because there's persistent rumors circulating within the Mexican community that Murrieta survived the massacre, and that he's living it up in old Mexico and crosses the Rio Grande as he pleases. Well, there's a series of sightings of Murrieta, and the robberies continue on a smaller scale, but the robberies continue. Well, despite these rumors, the head and the hand, remember, they're in a jar filled with preserving fluid, are placed on display in San Francisco. This happens in August of 1853. A ghoulish promoter and bar owner manages to finagle his hands on this grisly display, and he goes on tour with the head and the hand and charges 10 cents a glimpse. Well, there's a curse placed on these grisly artifacts by a Tejano shaman, and over the years, lots of bad luck follows the jars. For example, the promoter goes bankrupt, even though he's making tons of money, and he's forced to sell the grotesque exhibition. Well, the man who buys this grotesque exhibition shortly afterwards commits suicide. Then the third owner quickly dies. His gun accidentally goes off and kills him. There's a series of unexplained incidents over the years surrounding the head and hand. Well, in 1906, the head and hand resurface in San Francisco and are put back on display. One day, an elegantly dressed, a well-dressed Mexican old man is seen viewing the exhibition, laughing wildly. He's cracking up. He's laughing like a madman. And at that very same moment that the elegantly dressed old Mexican gentleman is laughing his head off, the San Francisco earthquake hits. The head, the hand, the old man are destroyed in the earthquake. But a number of witnesses to this incident survived the earthquake. They managed to escape. And they believe that this old laughing Mexican gentleman was Murrieta himself, having a chuckle at the display. And, well, this simply adds to the Murrieta legend. And there's a new series of corridos, or ballads, about Murrieta, and a fictionalized biography is written by Walter Burns. Was this old, laughing, elegantly dressed Mexican gentleman, old gentleman, really Murrieta, laughing at the display? We don't know. We'll never really know. But it's an interesting little incident, isn't it? All right, there's 2 English-language films about Joaquin Murrieta. The first is the Robin Hood of El Dorado. This is from 1936, directed by the great William Wellman, and starring Warner Baxter as Murrieta, who was a very, very popular actor in the 1930s. This is a romantic but still powerful indictment of American injustice post-Mexican-American War. In this film, in the Robin Hood of El Dorado, Murrieta is a peon. He's an Indian who refuses to quit his land, who hunts down the men who raped and killed his beloved wife, Rosita, played by the actress Margot, who was married to Eddie Albert for many, many years. And Murrieta becomes a real-life Robin Hood figure who torments the American settlers and prospectors in Southern California. Now, this film, Wellman's film, has a very, very bitter tone. Wellman was known as Wild Bill. Wild Bill had a great love and respect for Hispanic culture, and it shows in the movie. In fact, Wellman was drawn to Latina women and married a Mexican-American. He goes on to direct many, many great films that are sympathetic to the underdog and the oppressed. The Robin Hood of El Dorado really is one of the great westerns of the 1930s, and I highly recommend you see it. Now, this movie, even though everyone is really, really good in it, is stolen by the great character actor of classic Hollywood, J. Carrol Naish. He steals the movie. He plays Three-Finger Jack, and he has the time of his life playing this character. He infuses his performance with a sense of joyful, sadistic glee. All right, there's a second film about Murrieta called The Desperate Mission. This is directed by Earl Bellamy. It's from 1969. This is actually a television movie that was filmed in '69, but for reasons I really don't know, was shelved for 3 years, but eventually shown on television in 1972. The film was also released theatrically in Spanish-speaking countries. Well, this movie, Desperate Mission, has a different origin for Murrieta. In this film, he's a Mexican nobleman who is oppressed by the corrupt authorities during the California Gold Rush, and is forced to become a real-life Robin Hood. Now, Murrieta is played by the great great Hispanic actor Ricardo Montalban, who is best remembered for Khan in the Star Trek Wrath of Khan film Star Trek II, and for the episode Space Seed. Montalban gives Murrieta a sense of quiet dignity. This is a good little satisfying TV Western with well-staged action scenes and tight direction. There's a good supporting cast in this movie. Slim Pickens, Earl Holliman, Rosie Greer. I don't know if you'll be able to track this one down. I'm not sure if it's out on DVD. It was out on video many, many years ago. And this film, sadly, has not been shown on television in many, many years. All right, with that thought, we're going to take another musical break. This is Santa Esmeralda with their unique version of the song entitled Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood.